Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Complete Agent podcast. And my name's Ian Storey and I'm joined by David Warburton and James Kendall. Good afternoon, lads.
How are you doing?
Hello, how are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you both doing? How's your week?
Good.
Dave, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I've had a very busy week actually. To be honest, it's like we said last week. It's been a bit of a hectic start to the year. I think a lot of agents are feeling that as well at the moment. There's a lot of positivity since we came back, isn't there? Following a bit of a negative 2023, I would say. I think the overview from the media, etc., was negativity. But coming back into 2024, it has produced a lot of positivity with interest rates now. Well, they're sticking, of course, the base rate of interest, but interest rates coming down with fee wars at the bank and things like that. I noticed Rightmove in the Rightmove property index this week, it was saying that there's 20% more buyers in the market at the moment. So that's an interesting thing. So yeah, it's been a busy week for me. I'm just looking at my numbers here. I think we've been to 6 valuations at the higher end at around £6.5 million all in. So potentially £130,000 worth of fees. One, I just know we're not going to get. You know, the one that just doesn't want to pay a fee, wants to pay a low fixed fee, regardless, because his house is the best on the street, the one that the developer built for himself, the biggest, that kind of thing.
Get sleepers with you all the time, yeah?
Yeah. God, we'll have to do something on that one at one time. With everybody in the country who's an estate agent, will have the same thing, won't they? This builder built this house for himself. So it's the biggest on the street.
It was the show house.
Yeah, it was the show house.
I had one this week, which I don't think they'll go. She thought it was worth probably $100,000 more than I think it is. And they told me it was the architect's house. He kept this one for himself.
Brilliant.
30 years ago.
There's so many. There's so many. So yeah, I've got a brand new boiler, 55 years ago.
I had one this week. It was a great guy, £1.5 million, long-term nurture, really. But I'll get him eventually. Lovely guy, got on with him really well, and he had the smallest solar panel you can imagine fitted, probably 20 years ago. Like when they just come out on a north-facing elevation because it's a Grade 2 listed house, and he was banging on about it. You know, it probably gives him 2 days of cooking in the summer when the sun's out. So, So funny. But my week's been mixed. I mean, I did a live video, didn't I, in the Complete Agent Facebook group because I was sort of a bit pissed.
2 minutes after you just rang me, giving the same rant, and then he went live on Facebook with it.
This barn conversion had sort of messed me around, but then I think I've been totting it up. I've gone to 9 valuations this week. Two of them tomorrow that I've not been to, and out of the other 7, one of them I said no to. So we have a rule. We have a loose rule at Storage as to what we'll sell because we won't sell everything. And this was sort of the bottom end of what we would sell. It was like a $300,000 new build semi, probably been built for about 5 years. Outside looks sharp, because it's so new, and sometimes inside they're mint, aren't they? Because they've been really well decorated and furnished and stuff. And we would market something like that. So I went to it, but obviously I'd not really been inside since she bought it, and I wasn't in there very long. And our reason we always give to people is that we just won't have buyers for you at this level in the market. We don't really sell at that kind of price, this kind of house. So good luck. Please call XYZ estate agents. And I've passed quite a lot on to other agents locally that aren't right for us, which I think is...
Ian, just on that point, it's interesting because I think a few people will get that. And I'm in the same boat. There'll be valuations that are booked in my diary, and I think, just to be honest, it's not something that is for me. Is that how you handle it? And have you always handled it? Would you actually go out to it, or would you try?
Yeah, no, we wouldn't go out to it if we didn't think it was right. From the start of the company, obviously at the start we had to turn away lots more because we were unknown, and obviously most estate agents who start up sell anything, don't they, just to get a load of boards up. But I was really selective from the start, so we went through a period of having to turn away quite a lot. Which didn't go down that well with a lot of people, obviously, but nevertheless, I did it and it worked. It definitely worked. When you look at what we sell now, and obviously now we don't really get that many people calling us who haven't got the right sort of house because they just don't think we're the right agent for them. So they don't really call us. We get the odd one, and I've trained the team to say that we don't have buyers. We don't really sell that kind of house. So good luck. You're better off using an agent. We don't really sell that kind of house, and therefore we won't have that kind of buyer. So we'd be doing you a disservice.
Yeah.
And this one, we actually did, the one I'm just been talking about, we actually sold it to this woman 3 years ago. She bought it off us, but it was totally mint when she bought it. So she called me and said, sell it for me. And it's a 300 grand house, 2%, £6,000 fee. So, not to be sniffed at. So I went back, but it just wasn't right. Anyway, she was fine. But yeah, that's what we say. We say sadly, we won't have the right amount of buyers for you.
I think it's a good way out of that, because it is difficult sometimes. I mean, I don't want to segue too much because we've got stuff to come into shortly, but it's that short-term pain, I think, that you have to go through when you're initially setting up your sort of mid to higher end level, or if you will only go out to a certain type of home that you want to be known for. Yeah, so turning them away can be difficult. Like you say, 2%, 300,000 is £6,000.
Yeah,
but in reality, it can probably, with the greatest respect to the house, it can probably damage your brand a little bit more if that's not
massively,
what you're known for.
No, massively, yeah. People, a lot of viewers, well, most viewers, when they view a Storey's house, they think it's going to be quality before they view it. So if they view it and it's not, it definitely damages your reputation.
Yeah,
and you're also spending your time on that when you could be spending your time, on other nicer houses. And then in terms of the rest of the week, I've been to, just totting you up before, I've got two definite listings, one at 1.65, one at 650. Two not on the market letters. One is the one I was telling you about with the solar panels. John, he was an absolute legendary guy, old boy, Tory, like Times reading, like very well spoken, but total ledge. Got with him like a house on fire. And the other not on the market letter, they're going to come market ready. So this is a 5 acre, 1.65, came off the back of the not on the market letter that we sent out in December. And they seem interested in going market ready. So we'll photograph it, video it. But obviously not put it on the market until they're ready. So that went well. And then a couple of others. So it's been a decent week if you remove the barn conversion developer from the question.
So JK? For me, I've had about 7. Well, I've had 7 vowels this week. But I rang you last night, didn't I? We all seem to ring you, Dave, and beat you up verbally, don't we? Well, I've had a crap day. Let's ring Dave.
I had no life, so.
And I think the last week, 6 out of the 7 vowels I went to have been like, I suppose, about 375 to 450-ish. And the quality has been quite low, if I'm honest, in terms of either people's motivations and whether they're actually physically ready to move now, or again, that's that classic fee, the house I went to was a really good house. It spent all this money on it, amazing kitchen, great bathroom. It's only like 375, 400 grand, like Victorian terrace. But I just felt like our marketing would have really shown it off. Like I know it, I say it's only a 375, 400, 400 grand house, but it was lovely. It would have, we just slotted in well with what we were doing. We really could have made it look nice. But then I've, had a conversation around fee, and local agents offered to do it for a low fixed fee, like $3,000 including VAT. And it's gone online now, and you can see I think they've overpaid, to be honest. I think they probably could have got this better marketing for cheaper online, upfront fixed fee, because it's terrible. Honestly, the house is such a lovely house, but it's just like they've taken the photos on a potato. And it just the classic style. And I was just like, and it's like so-and-so stadiums are delighted to offer instructions. I'm like, what is
they
it?
Don't get it.
Point. Anyway, so
they don't get it, and you've got to know when to walk away, haven't you?
Yeah. And end of the day, just talking about, it was pure figures, and I was like, look, I tell you what, and this is something that I don't do very often, but I said, well, look, if it's fee, I said, how about we reduce the fee slightly? So, because I thought it would be somewhere between 375 and 4. This other agent said 375. I knew we'd get more with offers over and the marketing that we do. So I said, look, let's reduce our baseline fee slightly, but I want 25% plus VAT of everything over 375. I said, so if we sell at 375, you're going to get all this marketing and better service, 90% chance of selling, all the stats that Gatesy's put together for us to present to the client. said, so you got insurance as well. I said, but also, if I end up getting you 400 grand, so 25 grand more, yes, you're going to pay me more than you pay normally. So we had 1.5% plus VAT, or 2% if you want me exclusively. I said, look, you're going to pay more than that. But then if you're sat on 400k, that's 25 grand more. I said, I'm by far the cheapest agent, like full stop. But he just didn't get it. He just didn't get it. And I was like, well, if you can take a horse to water, you can shove his face in the pond, but if you don't want to drink, he ain't going to drink. So I was like, And the thing is, regardless of whether it's 370 grand or whether it's fucking 3 million, I always feel like if you're not pissed off about losing, you shouldn't be doing the job. And I always get pissed off about whether I lose, especially if I want. Like, I feel like that house. I felt like I could have done a good job, and it would have sold. And it was quite a nice house. If I go to something that I don't want and I walk away from it, price yourself out of it, or we haven't got the right buyers for you, then you don't care whether it goes elsewhere because you kind of let it go. But then one of the more positive vowels was, again, not on the market update. She'd had September's and December's, and unfortunately lost her husband a few months back. I suppose I did a post about this in the group earlier. You get those characters that you unlock, and it's one that I see quite often. They're kind of retiree. Unfortunately, one person's passed away. House is too big. Looking at their options, downsizing. And we were there for good 2 hours. Bless her. She was a ledge. She had the coffee tray came out. We had proper filtered coffee.
Brilliant.
Sat there chatting away, talking about her plans, and I think that's pretty much, I would say, nailed on to come with us, because we spent a lot of time talking about not just what her house could be, because that's going to be a mill, 1.5%, 15 grand fee. Great, take that all day long. And it kind of puts into perspective a week. You brought me back down to earth last night, Dave, and you were like, you those vows, but then you've got that one in the bag at that level.
That's what I mean. You kind of said to me in one respect, oh God, it's not been the best week. I've been to like 7 vowels. All around that 350 to 500,000 range. You were sort of talking about the sexy listings. It doesn't excite you too much, and then in the same breath you were going, I've got one at 1.5 million, and it's 1.5% fee. So I'm like, right, so you've had a 15 to 20 grand week. All right. Yeah, so it's not all bad, is it?
You got to check yourself.
Today, it's really like today I've been buzzed up as well, because not only that's happened. Next week, I've got 2 places coming on, one at 1.25 at 1.5, another one coming on at 1.35. House I'm really excited about. I'm going to do a video with the vendor there. I don't know if I mentioned that last week, but I'm going to try something new on the marketing there that I'm quite excited about doing. And then I've also been contacted by, again, another seller who got the September market update. Went out to see them October last year. Weren't quite ready, doing a few bits and pieces. And we're going to go and take some initial photos for off market in a couple of weeks' time. And that's going to be 3.5. That is one of the best homes I've ever been in, like in my career. And I'm really excited about selling that as well.
You've got to check yourself. I also think because obviously we all just focus on listings, which is, you do need to focus on listings. But I sort of tell myself sometimes when I get into, concerned about either not getting a couple of listings or having a poor week or stuff, you've also got to think about the sales in your pipeline and how you're getting those over to exchange, and how sometimes you're saving those sales. And, so we had one this week where we messed up on the memo of sale, and we didn't put down that they were including the fridge, freezer and the kitchen table and chairs. 2 grand's worth. Fisher and Paykel washing machine, Fisher and Paykel tumble dryer, which we did agree with the seller that they were including, but we forgot to put it on the memo. Seller isn't honouring what he said, and we've had to reduce our fee by 2 grand. Now it's a 17.5 grand fee, so I can stomach it, but it shows, doesn't it, that you shouldn't just focus on listings. You've also got to focus on
service and
getting them through the pipeline. And if you're saving a fee, you've just saved. You've just made the company money, saved a loss. So that's just as important as getting a new listing.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely is.
And we got. I think our exchange rate is like late 70s.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head,
Brilliant,
like
yeah.
mid to late 70s.
Similar.
The average locally is like less than, I think, 43%, 42%.
Yeah,
which is
wow.
incredible
Well,
when you think about it.
I think Chris Watkin put a stat out not so long back, or it might have been Gatesy, I'm not sure, but wasn't it 50% of houses actually exchanged last year that were listed?
Yeah, incredible.
It's really surprising. Well, it's not surprising, I suppose, given the market that we're in, but just shows that just getting the
There was
listing.
another stat as well. Gatesy sent me, again, this isn't the Gatesy podcast, but like there's 35% of homes that are withdrawn from the market will come back to the market within 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
So we can talk about that later anyway.
Yeah.
Again,
So what's this week's topic then? What are we going to go for, Dave?
Got a few things, really. I think there was some great posts in the group. And some
What
really
group, Dave?
That would be the Complete Agent group. You are welcome to come and apply to join. Not everyone gets in, but you know,
you get in if you are an estate agent, then you definitely get in.
You absolutely do.
No suppliers, but people. Now you've mentioned that, Dave. People should look for that group if they're not in it.
Oh yeah,
so
absolutely.
Free to join private group, so we can sort of discuss what we want, and clients, you know, the general public can't see the sort of nitty gritty of it. So check it out on Facebook. And
I was really pleased to see some great people in there this week. I think we're up to 80 odd members now, and there's some really great value being shared. And obviously, we put something in there every day, each of us. It usually relates to everyday circumstances and problems and successes, etc., that we're having. But what's really nice to see is that people are engaging. And I think we're going to pick up on quite a few topics today and see if we can maybe answer a few questions with the experiences that we've had and just discuss those. And obviously, if anybody gets anything from this, if you're listening, if you want to throw anything up in the group, then we'd be more than happy to discuss it when we're on over the next few weeks. I think we should look at that, to be honest with you. Ian, I think the most talked about post this week, or the most commented post, it wasn't your rant before you perk up. you actually ranted, but you were out with your woolly hat on. You actually looked like you were going to kick his door down. You were that angry. What you were doing there. I've just done a 5K run. I thought, I'm outside his house now. I thought you were going to film yourself going in, taking him out.
Tyson Fury. Not only does he sound like him, he's going
to... Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't that one, but the post with the video got a lot of engagement, and I think it does spark a bit of, not so much debate, but it sparks a bit of conversation about actually doing it, first of all, because there's a lot of people nervous about doing it. We've all had experiences with starting out and the quality of the actual product that we're doing, so we can obviously get into that a little bit. So I think that's the first bit, the fear of people actually doing it. But then there was a great comment, I thought, from Lydia Adams. She was basically asking if we do them on every house, I think, and how do we structure the contracts? How does it work with the fee? Is it all included, etc.? And it kind of led then into what is actually involved in your contract. It led into, should you be doing it on every house? Because I think one of Lydia's comments was that she'd got a nice period home coming up. Should she do one on that? Or rather, she'd really like to do one on that, sort of implying, but maybe wouldn't do it on others. So I think it sparked a nice debate that about whether you should be doing them on others. So, Ian, I'll throw it back to you. What have you been doing in that respect since you started?
So we started in the very end of 2018. We really got going in 2019, and we've done a video on every single house since we started. So I teamed up with a local videographer at the time, who was really just, I think he'd been going for a couple of years, but he was really just getting going. So that worked well because it was early on in his business and he lived near me. And then basically we've used Mark. Obviously it's Mark Ford, who I've mentioned in the group. So we've used Mark on every single property ever since, irrespective of the house, irrespective of the size or the character or the price. And it was just the best thing that I ever did. So at the start of the company, obviously we weren't making any money in the first year, and I found the money to make sure that we could do a property on every single video. Never would dream of at that point, never dreamt of asking the clients for any money up front because you were new and wanted to get known for it. Presenter-led is definitely how every single video should be done. Not too much talking though, by the way, but definitely presenter-led so that people get to know you. And frankly, the property videos are just as much about promoting the company as they are about the house.
100%. Yeah.
And that's the main reason that you should do them. And the other main reason you should do them is because, can you have two main reasons?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
The other main reason that you should do them is that no one else does them, frankly.
Yeah.
Basically, you know, obviously you boys doing yours, but generally speaking, in most areas, most agents don't do them. They definitely don't do them consistently. There's one agent near us who has a good reputation for selling the higher end. It's the agent in question on the Barnes from yesterday. So I won't go into that too much, but nevertheless, they've done like the odd video on the odd property, and you've got to be consistent. You've got to do them on every single house, because I tell you now, before too long, the younger generation will start to come through, and they are way better than us on video. They don't care. They're very used to doing it, and this younger generation will all be doing them on every single video. And they'll be able to do it on their phone probably, and put them together a good presentation quite easily. So you should definitely do it on every single video, and I wouldn't charge the clients upfront at the start of the company when you're unknown.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Obviously, from the start, we did about 5 properties, 1%. Then we went to 1.5 on a couple. Then we went to 2% quite quickly after that. And I knew, therefore, that the fees I was going to be getting at the time were probably 4,500 to 8,000, 4,500 to 7,000. So if the video had cost me 300 quid, 250 quid, well, I wasn't bothered about that because of the return on investment that I was getting. And then since then, we have implemented upfront marketing fees, which we implemented in the middle of last year, to 550 quid plus VAT, which covers half of our marketing costs. So if they do change their mind and not sell it, I've got some of the costs covered. But video, definitely on every single house, presenter-led.
Yeah, and I just think, point I picked up on there, you mentioned, obviously, you started at like 1%, 1.5%, etc. I think for anybody listening who's not doing it on every video, in my experience, because I've gone from sort of having another brand that just exclusively did really mid-range stuff, not that I didn't want to go to the higher-end stuff, we just weren't getting invited out to it. And it's because at the time, the way we looked, it wouldn't attract that type of vendor. So if you're just consistently selling lower end stock, or I think having a mix of marketing, so that every house looks a little bit different. One might have some really high standard photography, the next one doesn't. Then it's going to send mixed messages out to your audience, and you'll become known really for not a lot. And I think the surprising thing for me was the minute you find that consistency, like you said, you do it on every single house, regardless of whether it's a big 7-bed detached with equestrian facilities and all that, or it's just a 3 or 4-bed executive detached home. The speed at which you'll get from 1%, if that's where you are, up to 2% is staggering, because you're doing the same thing every time. And one thing that I found was that I'd go through my pitch, again, whole of the podcast, and we'll all do things differently, I'm sure, but I'd get through my pitch, and at the end, when you pull out the brochure, it's tangible, it's in your hand, and you're giving them that. And then I was going, and it's 1.5% plus VAT. The amount of people who actually said to me, "Oh, that's reasonable," I'm too cheap. I'm too cheap at 1.5% on £1 million houses. So I think you can quickly get there by just doing even 3 or 4 and becoming known for it. And that's just all you do.
But doing the same thing on every property, and the consistency is absolutely key. Absolutely key. So home styling is another one, isn't it? That you should be doing on every single property. And another local agent near us did a bit of home styling and then never hear from them since, you know. So they sort of did it on a couple, but they should do it on every single house without fail, even the lower end ones, you know.
So just to jump in myself on video as well. So like where we'd always dipped a toe in video. I think the first video we ever did was 2016, 2017. We paid a pro company to do it. It was like 1,500 quid. I was thinking, you know, but it was our first like house over $1 million back then. So I thought, well, it's worth the investment. We sold the house, which was great. It was an amazing video, but we didn't really get the traction then. For us, really, we were, so for somebody that maybe hasn't got hundreds to spend on each one, or is worried about spending hundreds on each one, you can do it in-house as well. So if you've got an iPhone, get yourself a couple of decent mics, because one of the biggest problems with video is audio, which sounds really funny saying that, but you can have an amazing looking video on an iPhone that you're doing as an agent, but if the audio is coming through the actual mic of the phone, it's gonna sound crap. It's going to turn people off straight away. So a small investment, you can get a Rode Wireless 2 Go. DJI mics are quite good as well. So you can get those. Get yourself a DJI gimbal off Amazon. And between again, I did this myself before we started using the pros for the last 2-3 years. Before that, it was literally me and Richard Bray, who's in the group as well, works for me. We said, look, we're gonna go big on video, because he started fresh in a new area. No one knew who he was, and it was me, the phone, the gimbal. We didn't have a mic at first, but we had a brand new build site, and we were up against 2 other agents on this site. Everyone had put the CGIs on Rightmove, and nothing was updated. And we committed to doing video, and we did the first video, and it was dreadful. I've still got it on our Instagram now, because I always like to look back at it. And I always said, from that point, we're going to do each video 1% better than the next. So eventually leveled up to things like mics and editing and how we put them on social media and where you put them. But having a base level to start from. So, if you've got the budget, there'll be people that are listening to this that have had really good 20, 21, 22s, put some cash in the bank and have got some money to put behind them and spend on videographers or photographers that do videography to do the videos. But if you're not at that level and you're dipping your toe in the water, you could do it in-house and put something together. I maybe wouldn't do an iPhone video for your first one outside a £2 million house, but start somewhere at the mid-range, and have a look at what's out there. There's great guides and stuff on YouTube that you can put together, and even getting yourself on camera, like introducing yourself to your audience. Whole other podcast. But anyway, as a result of those videos, Richard became the number one agent in his area because people knew who he was, so he automatically gets invited out. But back then, we sold 7 out of the 8 houses on the website on the new build site. I say Rich sold 7 out of 8 houses on that site, because he was consistently going up to the site and doing videos, and it bloody works, guys. We do videos, pro videos for everything. We also do reels as well. So the 90-second reels are where you do a quick tour through the house. It is super important.
We do that as well. So when we go to the house, so on the day that we've got the guys out filming, while if I'm stood around a little bit while they're getting footage of the rest of the house, I'll always get real footage, and that's one thing that I think that you can get away with being quite primitive. Your real footage, and there's some really good apps like CapCut that are out there where you can, especially now on the iPhones, they're so stable. If you're just getting them in portrait mode, getting some snippets of the house, and just putting them together, it takes literally 10 minutes on CapCut to put a nice little reel together. And we use those immediately. So put them onto the local Facebook groups and the community groups, get loads of people asking questions. Don't give too much away about the house, but get loads of messages through to my personal page and things like that.
I was going to say on that, just quickly before we jump on the next one, I've got 2 really amazing tips that I think will help people on that.
Yeah.
That's important. On the reels, it's really important that you upload it to each platform natively.
Yes.
So upload it to Facebook separately, and then share that, as Dave says, share them into all the local groups. And then with Instagram, upload it separately to Instagram. Don't use Facebook and just put them both through from both platforms or a scheduler. Upload them to each platform individually. And also, if you use TikTok's another podcast maybe, but those reels can go on TikTok. Some of the engagement that you can get off there is incredible for absolutely no ad spend. And the second tip, which is, I don't know whether they're starting to cotton onto it now, but it's something that not a lot of people know, is on Instagram, if you want to use like chart music, for example, a lot of people are on Instagram and they can't use the chart music because they're like, they've only got access to. And I was like, how do people always get the chart music? Well, the trick is to change your profile from a business to a creator, and then make yourself as something like an entrepreneur, for example. That's a great example. So you go from being there's no real difference to look from the outside in terms of how people are going to perceive your account, because your Instagram account's your Instagram account. But you're going to get slightly more analytics if you're a proper business pro account. But let's be honest, 98% of us that are going to be using this and listening to this aren't going to use any of that crap anyway. What we want to do is put it on there, get the engagement, and get the business off the back of it. But by doing that, as long as your reel is 60 seconds, because a lot of these are up to a minute, you can then use the latest chart music alongside your reels. And it's just another cool way of getting them out there and people remembering your reels.
Yeah. I think as well, going back to video, so reels are great and you can get them out there. And I think you can get away, I think the point was, with being a bit more primitive. For me, if you can invest now in professional videography, I would not hesitate. And I would do it on every single 100%. You might have to take a hit. This is what I was saying.
You will.
On my post.
I think you will at the start.
Yeah. So there's a few things. One, you might have to walk away from some houses that don't suit the way forward. And we'll just quickly discuss that. Ian's got a great way of overcoming that. But two, because you're spending more, you might have to charge a bit more. And if you've got to win the deal at all costs, because you've maybe not got a reputation in that higher end space, you might even have to take a hit. So you might have to do the odd 1%. But trust me, once you've done them, we've all done it, taking them on in the early days, especially if it's on a good street where you've got a good board on a main road or something like that.
I think it's worth it at the start. If you're starting off or you're very new, do some lower fees. But get the videos in, do the video, because it 100%. Gives you the reputation locally. There's this fallacy that you shouldn't charge, like 1% at the start because it gets your reputation. And that's just absolute bollocks, because that's exactly what I did. I charged 1%, and then we charged 1.5%, and then we charged 2%. So it's not true.
You can jump so quickly. You'll jump quickly from that 1%.
People forget, and people don't know. The 1% person doesn't know the person in 5 sales times. It's not true.
Well, you wouldn't bump into someone and go, "Oh, you sold your house at store. How much did you pay?"
No, they never. The amount of people you go to when you've been recommended by someone and they haven't told them the fee, it's impolite to do that. They don't do that. So get some instruction under your belt, but do the videos, because it'll give you a massive return quite quickly. And if I could turn back the clock and someone said to me, and I knew this in the past, I'd go and borrow 10 grand.
I would 100%
on a personal loan and do a professional video on every one, and then market the shit out of it on Facebook.
Yeah, that's saying, what do you do? That's one thing, doing the videos, but where you put them and what you do with them. So it's not just about putting them on Rightmove and let people do. Like, a lot of people know you, Ian, without trying to blow smoke up your ass. Like, people know you from Facebook for your videos.
Yeah.
And it's just having, but it's them everywhere. It's on your personal page. It's in the local groups. Getting people to share them. Get your clients to share them.
Yeah. You've got to ask them. You've got to say
as well.
There's so many. I mean, we've covered a whole podcast here on video, I think, which is absolutely brilliant, by the way. So we should do more podcasts. But nevertheless, when you're doing this, when you use, like you say, Jim, you can use a video in so many different places. All these local groups tend to have like a day a week, don't they, where you can do a business post. So when we were less well known, I should still do it now, but when we were less well known, I used to put a reminder on my phone for Thursday morning, because it's the local village business post day.
Yeah.
And I'd put a video in the local group. Do you know anybody looking for a house like this? And I used to ask clients to share. I'd send them the Facebook link to make it easy for them. Share this.
Repurpose the content, though. Like anything that you do. So we're talking about video now, but repurposing that content, to sell the house. So make sure it's on Rightmove. So upload it to YouTube, and then make sure the link's on Rightmove. The other thing you can do on Rightmove as well, if you're posting reels on Instagram or you're posting the videos to Facebook, your CRM should allow you to add extra links. So you can actually add the link as a video link to Facebook and Instagram. So when people click the video, it takes them through to Instagram or Facebook from Rightmove. And the other nice thing that does is that if you've got Facebook Pixel, again, whole other podcast, if you've got a Facebook Pixel installed, it then brings the people from Rightmove into your ads and Facebook social media ecosystem. So then it's people that you can target and market to. Again, whole other podcast. But the point of this is, if you're going to invest that £300, £400, £500, whatever it is into a video, like make sure you use it to its maximum, squeeze every last drop out of it to make sure that you
something else. James, I just thought something else we used to do with Rightmove. The Rightmove police got us a couple of times, but we used to use earlier on when we were less well known, for the start of the description on Rightmove, I used to put *** see our video tour. ***, so that before people clicked on it, they knew there was a video tour, and then we'd put it in as a bullet point as well, the top bullet point, just to try and drive people to click on the video.
Yeah, that is the key for me. You need to progress from. I mean, don't forget, you can. These professional companies as well will just do kind of the fly around video, if you like, where the camera is just going in every room. There's some nice music over the top. I'm not a fan. I just think
rubbish.
You might
the other thing, then rubbish.
Sorry, I was just going to say.
Sorry, Dave.
There are some companies. We work with a company called Lens Media sometimes. Great guys, and they guide you as well. They help you. So you could get a situation where if you're not as comfortable on camera, certainly walking around the house, doing a bit of presenting, you could just do the intro and the outro. Again, I'm not a massive fan. I think that you can, if you're confident enough to walk around the house, that is the best way to build your personal brand, because nobody else can do you. It's the only unique thing you've got. So people will want to gravitate towards you if you can master that. So I would really, really highly recommend anybody who wants to master video just does it and gets it out there. You've got to get over that initial fear where you're probably going to feel like everybody is going to laugh at you and stuff like that. But it's just never the case. It's never the case. Nobody wants you to fail.
People say, I always say to people that you do look like that and you do sound like that. So you've really got to deal with it. Get on with your life.
It's a shame.
The other thing people should stop doing is Matterport 3D tours. There's not just Matterport, is there? There's lots of other little, type example. I just think they're a complete waste of time, and it's a lazy route for an estate agent to put a video in inverted commas. We did them at the start, quickly stopped doing them. I had a couple of people say to me, "Oh, Ian, I want to view this house, and I've seen the video. They didn't call it Matterport. I've seen the whatever thing, the 3D tour, and I've zoomed in, and it looks like there's a bit of damp under that window in the conservatory, things like that. That is a tool for a surveyor, not for an estate agent. And whatever you're paying to put a Matterport video tour on, use that to do a professional video tour instead. Stop doing those 3D tours, because I think they're pointless.
I agree. They're almost
thinking, guys, a bit too good now.
Yeah, too good.
And your job is to sell the house, so present the tour. And again, just going back to the point that you made at the start, I picked up on Ian. It is. Listen, we're talking to estate agents, so let's be selfish. It's about you. It's not much about the house. It's about your personal brand. It's about getting your face on camera, being the local authority in the area, and doing a different type of marketing. It'll just grow your brand so quickly because it's different to everybody else. And like I said, get you from that. If you're at 1.1%, 1.25% up to, if you want to get there, 2%, because people will want you.
It does sell the house. It does help sell the house, but there is a huge part of it that is promoting your brand. So just thinking, guys, time-wise now, we said last week 3 free-ish things to do. We also gave the buyer letter out last week. Had one message from somebody who has sent out using this buyer letter 400, and we had 2 calls, and one so far is for a £2.5 million house.
Lovely.
Amazing.
Which was fantastic. So that's really good to hear.
One thing there, JK, sorry. Got the letter off you last week, implemented it straight away, got 2 vals and 1 to 2.5 million instruction.
Yeah.
In 1 week by doing it, by just doing it.
Yeah. And I've messaged people that have messaged me for the letter last week, asking them if they've sent any out yet, just to hold people accountable. So the following people no, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to say your names on it. But,
but if you're going to come and get a free letter, just be warned, we're going to chase you up and ask you what results you're getting.
That's it. And then we're going to name you on next week's podcast. No, we're not really. I'm just kidding. But so the 3 free things that we can do, I'll start just jumping quickly with that buy letter. That's something that I've had great success with myself. Sometimes I've sent 100 in a go out, and I've had 5 or 6 responses, which is incredible, really. It's like a 5 or 6% response rate. You just got to be hyper targeted and really focus on where you're sending it. We gave it away for free last week. So if you want it, message us, we'll send it over, but we will hold you accountable. I can talk you through the intricacies and how to use it. Guys, who's going next?
I'll go next.
Go.
So I think we should clarify that this is free or nearly free. Because obviously the buyer letters aren't free to send out, but it's only a couple of £100. My idea is completely free, and it's more of a long-term strategy, but I think you should start doing it immediately, which is to interview local businesses on Facebook and Instagram. So I was doing it back in 2018, 19, then I had a bit of a lull, but then we started it again last year. We called it the Northwich Podcast and the Tarpley Podcast. So we interview local shop owners on the high street, 15, 20 minutes, sometimes half an hour, 40 minutes, depending how long we talk for. We go in and talk about them. We talk about why they love the local area and why they love the local people. A lot of these ideas I got off Chris Watkin. Thanks very much, Chris. And we then post them into local groups and we get them to share them out on their social media. And that's another way on top of the property videos. It's a brilliant way for local people to get to know you and like you and trust you. So when you go in the door, they feel like they already know you. The amount of times in the last 4 years, people have said to me on a Val, "Oh, Ian, hello, I feel like I already know you," because they've seen me doing local interviews and the local community love it. One of the things we did during COVID first lockdown was 60 lockdown, lowdown interviews where I interview people on Zoom. And that was, obviously that was a unique time in history, wasn't it? That we'll never get back. But the sort of premise of it works really well, which is that you are speaking to local people, nothing to do with stories or me or sales at all, just about them, their business and the local community. And that works really, really well. So I would start doing that tomorrow, and it's completely free.
Can I just say quickly on the buy letters? The buy letters can be next to free. You don't have to send them out using Spectre.
Okay,
you could print them off in your office
and hand deliver,
and handwrite the envelopes and hand deliver them to the areas for the houses that you want to target. And
okay, mate.
I say go one step further, knock on the door and introduce yourself to the people, then give the letter. It depends on how much time you've got on your hands and what you want to do. But sorry, I'm just going to jump down. Sorry, Dave.
All right. So I touched on it last week, but it stands and it's so relevant, and it's something that this could potentially produce quick wins, and that is historical valuations that you've been to. So depends obviously how long you've been going, but I think again you talked about that unique period in time, Ian, throughout COVID, but we've seen incredible price rises in every single region across the country since 2020. And a lot of people, although we can talk about percentages, a lot of people understand the cost implications of that, or the price rises that it's actually given them. So one thing that's worked extremely well for us, and I've done it. I do it most years anyway, quite consistently. But at the start of every year, in particular, I go back to the valuations that I've been to over the last 3 years, and basically just educate them on what their property value might have done over the last 12 months, or if it's like say for example, if I've got separate databases for the years that I've valued houses. So I've got like 2020, 2021 vals, 2022 vals. I separate them all so that I could quickly send an email to everybody in that particular sector and say, right, your house price has probably gone up circa 30% in the last 3 years. What does that mean for you? And I've put a little table together. So I did the table in Excel, just copied it over into, I used MailChimp, and I put the campaign together, and I'll just have the ratchets then. So if your house value is worth 500,000, 600, 700, 800,000, 900,000, this is now what it means to you. So if I valued your house in 2020 and it was £500,000, the likelihood is now that it might be £650,000. Just wanted to let you know, do you want any advice? Would you like me to give you a call about an up-to-date valuation, that kind of thing? And we've got great responses from that. And it's something that you can do very, very quickly. That is absolutely free. It's just a bit of time. You just need to go back to all your previous valuations, put something together. I have got a bit of a template, I suppose. If anybody wanted to have a look at what I sent out, probably more than happy to share that in a fashion. I can send what I've got across. But yeah, that's worked really well for us, and I think it could produce some quick wins for people and just get you engaging with your customer database. Because again, how many times do people follow up valuations for the first week and then don't speak to them ever again? They've decided that client maybe not to come on the market at this moment in time, and then they don't speak to them ever again. And then they might drive past the house and think, oh, I'm sure I valued that 3 years ago. And if you've been nurturing that client for the last 3 years, the chances are you'd have been invited out to it again. So, I mean, again, nurture campaigns, probably a whole other level, aren't they? But on another podcast. But it's something that you can do quite quickly. Dead quickly as well. I've got time to just quickly mention what I said to you guys before.
Super quick, Dave.
Super quick. Right, okay. So your vendor database, so this is properties that you've sold. You should be keeping a list of those anyway, a list of the new people that have moved in and that house. So you've got a database of them. But are you tracking the ones that they've bought? So in theory, you should be able to double your database every time you sell a house, if that makes sense. So you want to follow your vendor.
The ones that your vendors bought, you mean? The ones your clients bought.
Exactly. So you want to be right. So when you're emailing, you're doing anniversary emails, things like that to your vendors, you should be doing them also to the vendors that you sold for that have now moved on, if that makes sense. You've got to track, you've got to follow them around. So there you go. Just another quick tip.
Brilliant. So that was actually 4 free ideas, wasn't it there?
It was.
Well, good on 46 minutes, chaps.
I think we'll probably have to call it a day there, won't we?
Good deep dive into video. Brilliant.
Yeah.
That was longer than we thought, wasn't it?
We didn't really plan to do that. I think we planned to talk about fees and where we came from, lower fees, but I think the video, the tangent we went on is really relevant to all of us. And it's something I think we're all really strong on between us in our businesses. I think there's real value today. There's at least 2 things that I think people will listen to from today and go, yeah, we need to do this. And if they're doing video already, there's tips and actionable content that will help them supercharge what they've done already.
I also think we related it back to the Complete Agent private Facebook group, didn't we? And what we've been discussing in there in the last week. So I think that hopefully will add value to those people as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you're not doing it, do it. And if you're not doing it on every house, do it on every house. I think that's a clear message. Make sure your brand is consistent on every single house. Don't pick and choose the ones that you do it on. Just become known for doing it and do it well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. Well, then should we call it there?
Yeah, cool. Cheers, guys.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate us, like, subscribe, and also find us on Facebook. Join the group. We'd love to hear from you. So we'll see you again next week.
See you next week.
Thanks for listening, guys.